Do you ever feel like the world is just waiting for you to fail? Like no matter how hard you try, there's always something or someone holding you back? What if I told you that the only person standing in the way of your success, your happiness, your freedom is you? And that the very doubts, fears, and insecurities you're letting control you right now are the same ones that have been feeding off your pain, keeping you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. There comes a moment in every person's life when their spirit, once vibrant, begins to flicker beneath the weight of doubt. This doubt doesn't come in loud crashes. It creeps. It seeps into the mind through the cracks left behind by betrayal, rejection, and disappointment. It whispers, not with truth, but with fear. You are not enough. You are broken. You will never rise again. And yet, I tell you now that whisper is not your voice. It is not the voice of your soul, nor the voice of your destiny. It is the echo of pain, pain that someone else handed you, or life delivered, or perhaps you quietly accepted as deserved. And it is in that moment, when doubt reaches its sharpest peak, that you must remember who you are, not who you were made to feel like. You see, self-doubt is not the enemy. It is the messenger. It appears not to paralyze you, but to challenge you. It is the shadow that proves the light still burns inside. The question is not whether you will feel doubt. You will. The question is, what will you do when it comes? After pain, we question everything. We look into the mirror and barely recognize the reflection. Our confidence becomes fragile. Our purpose becomes cloudy. We forget our power. We shrink in the places where we once stood tall. We rehearse our failures until they feel like facts. But understand this: every scar on your soul is not a sign of weakness, but a certificate of survival. The world did not break you. It tested you. And the pain you endured is not evidence that you are unworthy. It is proof that you are being forged into something greater. When a blacksmith shapes steel, he subjects it to fire, to pounding, to relentless force. And why? To strengthen it, to form it, to bring out its truest shape. So it is with your spirit. You have been struck by life's hammer, but you are not destroyed. You are being refined. Do not curse the pain. Do not hate the fire. Instead, look it in the eye and declare, I will use this. Because there is a higher part of you, a place beyond fear, beyond pain, beyond self-doubt, that is untouched by circumstances. It waits, it watches, and it calls you upward. That part of you is the essence of who you are. It is the part that cannot be shattered. And when you align yourself with it, self-doubt loses its grip. How do you reach that place? By choosing, moment by moment, to believe in the possibility of your own greatness. Not in arrogance, not in ego, but in truth. You must train your mind to believe in you again. Not because you have no flaws, but because you have meaning. You must replace the broken record of doubt with a new declaration. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Say it again. Speak it louder than the voice of fear. Let it ring in your chest. Let it become your anthem. But belief alone is not enough. You must act. You must move even when your legs shake. You must speak even when your voice trembles. You must show up for yourself every day. Not because you feel ready, but because you are committed to becoming the version of you that pain tried to erase. You are not here to play small. You are not here to be crushed by rejection or imprisoned by the judgments of others. You are here to rise, to build, to shine, and yes, to be wounded. But the wounds are not the end. They are the beginning of your transformation. When you doubt yourself, ask this: who taught me to doubt? Whose voice am I really hearing? Is it the critic from your past? The one who said you were too much, not enough? The one who couldn't see your value because they were blind to their own? Then release them, not with bitterness, but with finality. Their opinion does not define you. Their rejection is not the verdict. And their departure is not your end. It is your liberation. You have within you a power that no heartbreak can erase. It is the power to choose your thoughts, the power to create your reality, the power to rise above the rubble and declare it, I am still here. And there is no force on earth more powerful than a soul that refuses to be buried in its own doubt. You must become the guardian of your own mind. Watch carefully what you allow in. Words are seeds, and if you water the wrong ones, they will take root. Pluck out the weeds of negativity. Starve the thoughts that diminish you. Nourish the ones that elevate you. Affirm your worth, not as wishful thinking, but as a declaration of war against the fear that would keep you small. When doubt tells you, you can't, you answer, watch me. When pain says, you are broken, you say, I am being rebuilt. When fear says, you are alone, you say, I am with myself, and that is enough. And even when your voice shakes, you speak your truth. Even when your knees buckle, you stand. Even when no one believes in you, you believe in yourself enough to keep going. Every master you admire once stood where you stand, uncertain, trembling, afraid. But they moved. They acted. They chose faith over fear. And so must you. Stop waiting for confidence to arrive before you take action. Confidence is not the cause of action. It is the result. You grow by doing. You expand by daring. You discover your power by putting yourself in motion. Action breaks the cycle of self-doubt. Inaction feeds it. Do not ask, what if I fail? Ask, what if I never try? The pain you endured was real, yes, but it does not get to be the author of your future. You hold the pen, and if you write with the ink of fear, the pages ahead will be filled with regret. But if you write with courage, even imperfect, trembling courage, your story becomes one of triumph. Don't wait until the fear disappears. Don't wait until the doubt vanishes. Walk with it, carry it, and keep moving. Let it walk beside you, but never let it lead. You lead. You decide. The scars you carry are not signs of defeat. They are medals of resilience. They show the world that life tried to silence you, and you spoke louder. That you were bent, but never broken. That while your heart may have been wounded, your spirit remained unconquered. Every moment you chose to get back up, even when you didn't believe you could, that was victory. Every breath you took in defiance of the voices that said you'd never recover, that was strength. You were not waiting to be rescued. You were learning how to rescue yourself. And here is the great truth that doubt cannot stand against. You were never meant to be saved. You were meant to be awakened. The pain cracked the illusion. The heartbreak broke the shell. And now, standing in the ruins of who you thought you were, you have the chance to become who you were destined to be. You must not let the world convince you to shrink into a shadow of yourself. It will try. Oh, how it will try. It will say, be quiet. It will say, be careful. It will say, don't reach too far. Don't believe too much. Don't dream too big. But you were never made to be quiet. You were not born to be careful. You are not here to simply survive. You are here to thrive, to build, to lift others, to create beauty out of the very pieces that once felt broken. That is your calling. That is your power. And it begins, not with perfection, not with certainty, but with a single courageous decision. I will believe in myself even now, especially now. You do not need permission to heal. You do not need validation to grow. You do not need applause to rise. You need only one thing, a decision that your life is still worth living, that your heart is still worthy of love, that your voice still matters, that your dreams are still possible. This decision must come from you. No one else can give it to you. The world cannot offer it. The past cannot deliver it. But you can, right now, in this very moment. Declare it. Let the universe hear it. Let your soul feel it. Say to yourself, no more shrinking, no more silence, no more believing in the lies that pain taught me. Instead, say, I reclaim myself. I remember my value. I rise not because I'm never afraid, but because I refuse to be ruled by fear. The journey ahead will not always be easy. Some days, the doubt will whisper again. Some nights, the pain will echo in the silence. And when that happens, don't run. Don't retreat. Sit with it. Look it in the eye. And say, you are welcome to walk beside me, but I am the one holding the map. Because you are not the same person you were before the pain. You are wiser, deeper, more awake. And while it may not feel like a gift, the pain gave you something that nothing else could, the realization that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's ability to see it. You are not someone's mistake. You are not your worst moment. You are not the opinion of those who hurt you. You are the dream that keeps rising, the fire that keeps burning, the heart that keeps loving, even after being torn. So don't just heal, evolve. Don't just recover, rise above. Don't just survive, transcend. For every voice that told you to doubt yourself, let your actions become the answer. For every time you were told you were not enough, let your life become the proof that you were always more than they could imagine. Your light may have dimmed, but it was never extinguished. And now, you carry the flame, not only for yourself, but for everyone who needs to be reminded that it's never too late to come back to yourself. The world needs your fire. It needs your authenticity. It needs the you that emerges from the ashes, untamed, unbroken, and unafraid. Not everyone will understand your journey. That is not your burden to carry. You do not owe anyone an explanation for the path you take to heal. You owe only this: to never give up on yourself again. You've already seen what happens when you abandon your own voice. Now, witness what happens when you honor it. You've already felt the emptiness of doubting your worth. Now, feel the fullness of owning it. Do not ask for the world's permission. The moment you were born, you were already enough, already worthy, already chosen by life to express something no one else ever could. Let the pain shape you, but never define you. Let it refine your character, not rewrite your identity. Let your story be one of rebellion, against fear, against silence, against all the chains that ever told you to stay small. Because now you understand, your healing is not a return to who you were. It's a rebirth into someone far greater. Someone who has walked through the storm and emerged not weaker, but wider, more grounded, more awake. You no longer seek to erase what happened. You seek to build from it. That's where your power lies. It's not in pretending the heartbreak never existed. It's in transforming its energy into wisdom, into courage, into a voice that no longer trembles when it speaks truth. You begin to see that self-doubt was never the real enemy. It was just a signal, a flare lit in the sky, calling your attention inward, to go deeper, to uncover the places you once abandoned, to rescue the parts of yourself you forgot how to love. Because what was broken wasn't your worth. It was your belief in it, and belief can be rebuilt. In fact, the strongest belief is often born from the ruins. So when the old voice says, "You can't," you don't argue. You rise, you move, you do it anyway. Because now you know the truth. Action is the antidote to self-doubt. You stop waiting to feel brave. You become brave by showing up, again and again, despite the fear. You stop waiting for the absence of pain. You walk with the pain like an old teacher, knowing it's only here to sharpen you. You stop apologizing for needing time, for stumbling, for bleeding while you build. This is not weakness. This is sacred ground. This is the fire in which power is born. And now, you stop looking at yourself through the eyes of those who failed to love you. You begin to see with new eyes, your own. And what you see is not brokenness. It is becoming. You see the strength that got you through nights you thought would never end. You see the heart that still opens, even after being torn. You see the mind that dares to dream, even with bruises and scars. And slowly, the shame begins to fall away. The guilt begins to dissolve. The fog begins to lift. You are coming home to yourself. And as you do, you start to speak differently. You stop saying, "I hope I'm good enough." You start saying, "I will no longer shrink to fit someone else's comfort." You stop saying, "I'm sorry for not being perfect." You start saying, "I am proud of the progress I've made." You stop saying, "What if I fail?" You start saying, "What if I finally succeed?" That shift, that subtle but seismic shift, is the foundation of a life rebuilt from truth. And here's the greatest truth of all: you have always been enough. Not because you never made mistakes, not because you've never fallen short, but because your value is not tied to perfection. It's tied to your presence, to your perseverance, to your refusal to let the darkest days decide your future. You are not here to live inside someone else's limitations. You are not here to tiptoe through life, hoping not to upset the world. You are here to roar, to lead, to shine so brightly that every lie spoken over your soul withers in the presence of your truth. And yes, there will be more pain. There will be people who misunderstand your growth. There will be days when self-doubt returns like an old ghost knocking at the door. But this time, you are ready. Because now, when it knocks, you greet it not with fear, but with fire. You open the door and say, "I see you. But I no longer live in the house you once ruled." You do not silence your fear by ignoring it. You silence it by walking through it. Again and again, until you realize the lion was never outside the cage. You were. And now, that cage has no door. Because you no longer live inside the mind that believed the pain defined you. You live in the present moment. Awake, aware, unshaken. Because once you face the shadow of self-doubt and walk through it, you realize the shadow only existed because you were the light all along. Reclaiming the power you gave away when you doubted yourself. Reclaiming the truth you silenced when others made you question your worth. Reclaiming the vision you abandoned when fear disguised itself as logic and told you to play small. But you are no longer interested in playing small. You've tasted the bitterness of shrinking. You've lived through the numbness of dimming your light, and you have decided, consciously, deliberately, that enough is enough. You will no longer betray yourself just to be accepted by others. You will no longer edit your brilliance to make others feel more comfortable. You will no longer apologize for your intensity, your passion, your hunger, your truth, because that truth has waited long enough. It has waited behind closed doors. It has waited behind broken beliefs. It has waited in silence, in the cracks between your doubts, waiting for you to be ready. And now you are. Now, you stand in the ashes of what was, holding the pen that will write what's to come. This is where the story changes, not because the world becomes easier, not because the pain magically disappears, but because you've chosen to stop running from it. Instead, you face it. You meet it. You let it teach you, sharpen you, mold you. You allow it to turn you from wounded to wise. And wisdom changes everything. Because wisdom doesn't just survive pain, it transforms it. It asks, what did this break in me that was never meant to stay? It listens, it learns, and then it rises. You see now that the wound was never meant to be the end. It was meant to be the beginning, the ignition, the divine interruption that shattered the lie and revealed the truth beneath it. The truth that you don't need to be chosen to be worthy. The truth that your voice matters even when it shakes. The truth that your story holds power, not in spite of your scars, but because of them. There is a light in you that pain could not touch, a seed of greatness buried beneath the rubble of self-doubt. And now, you are watering that seed, not with the tears of defeat, but with the fire of decision.